You're listening to Athletes and Avatars, the podcast for 30-year-old gaming dads who peaked in high school and prestige in Warzone.
We break down sports, gaming, movie hot takes while our wives nod politely and absolutely do not listen.
From late night lobbies, youth league sidelines, we're still chasing glory.
And ignoring bedtime routines to debate Madden ratings.
Athletes,
And avatars.
because we still think we've got it.
And we definitely don't. Football is so back, and so are we. Took a week off. I had a baby, so I've been kind of in shambles over here trying to get my life figured out. And then we're going to run it on Sunday, and then Taylor, this donut's internet goes out. So we had to punt on that, and we're going to do it Monday night. Internet went out again Monday night, so here we are on, Tuesday, reacting 2 days later to college football and NFL week one. So welcome back to the first world country here after being with the cavemen the last couple days.
Internet is back.
So let's kind of get things started. We got week 2 of NCAA football. I know we were both locked into Missouri, Kansas, which I thought should have been where game day was. You know, I know they're at the Michigan Oklahoma game, and they usually go to where the ranked games are. But I think
a little bit bigger name there.
A little bit bigger names, but I also think that the rivalry of Mizzou, Kansas, like you said on game day, is a different thing. And then for them not to play each other since they joined the SEC, it's kind of just a different beast. And it's the first time they played each other on a college campus in, what did they say, 2011, something like that?
Yeah,
or maybe it's the first game in Columbia since 2011, something like that. So Mizzou comes out on top there. We'll get into more on that. I was pretty locked into the morning games. You know, Troy gave Clemson all they could handle.
Cade wasn't looking great to start.
Arizona State, Mississippi State was a fun game. USF upset Florida. Then Iowa State, Iowa was not a high-scoring game, not to be expected with Iowa there, but it was a fun game. And then
a good game.
Baylor beat SMU in double overtime. That game was crazy. Ole Miss defeated Kentucky. Then the rest of the games are pretty well what you expect from week 2 of college football. Kind of just some cupcakes against some higher-ranked teams. Opposed to the 3 top 10 matchups that we saw in week 1. So, any big takeaways from week 2 of college football?
Week 2, that's not Mizzou. Everybody's on the Mateer train from Oklahoma. He's fun. He's a fun player. Watching him, he fits that offense perfectly. He comes from Wash State, which is where Cam Ward obviously came from before he went to the U and became a Hurricane. So they kind of have this track record of guys who can sling it, right? I mean, you got to be able to go to Wash State. So I'm not here to pound the table and say this is it, this is QB1 yet. Yes, he's fun, and yes, I've seen some good things, but I'm going to reserve myself a little bit on him.
Yeah, so he's currently the favorite in the Heisman voting. He's plus 900. My guy Carson Beck plus 1,000 at Miami. Dante Moore out of Oregon is plus 1,100, and Arch Manning's plus 1,200. Your guy Lenore Sellers out of South Carolina plus 1,500. And then I would place this bet on Tommy Castellanos at plus 2,000. Got his Seminoles in the top 10 after upsetting Alabama in week 1, and then they got I forget who they beat, some school by like 60 this past week.
Backing up the talk. He said Nick Saban's not on that sideline. What am I worried about?
And then they're in the top 10 now in the AP poll anyway. And then our Missouri Tigers cracked the top 25 this year after defeating Kansas and what early looked to be like a dominant game by Mizzou, and then fumble 6. Next thing you know, we're down 10 or something. Like, oh, this might be a long day. But I think just Mizzou looked faster to me at times than Kansas did. The Kansas coach actually is a 3-time Division III football champion. Went to Wisconsin Whitewater. So he's a good coach for sure. Lance Leipold. We were talking about those don't happen by accident. I remember. Whitewater in like every sport in Division III is like a blue blood. And I remember, I think when I was in college, they won the national title in every team sport you can possibly win a national title in. So Whitewater is no slouch, and they show some graphic during the game that in the last 5 years he's been there. They've won more at Kansas than they've won the last 10 years before he got there or something.
That's what I'll delve into, right? Is that was a well coached team. Like they didn't execute at times, but it was never for lack of, hey, that wasn't a good play call or that wasn't that. Like they had 2 or 3 possessions in on drops, right? Which doesn't mean he coached wrong in any type of way. He called a great play. Number one, for example, I think was his number. He dropped two. He killed 2 drives alone with just drops, and I think that's where Missouri really beat them. Was they had multiple tough third downs, fourth downs that they completed and made plays on, right? And so it's a game of inches. When can you make these impact plays? And none of them were obviously big bomb touchdowns or anything, but like I said, a long third down or fourth down, making catches on the sideline, stuff like that. Mizzou just made more tough plays.
Yeah, and I think the game really flipped on that safety, which really shouldn't have been a safety because the Mizzou player batted the ball into the end zone and got
Yeah.
recovered. But
The
that's
refs
one
had
of
a
those.
hard day. They missed a brutal one that they called a face mask that was not even close. The guy got yanked down, and they gave it to Kansas and bailed him out for sure. I actually saw today that officiating crew's gotten in trouble. Oh, because of
Yeah.
I guess that punt
They
after.
yeah they misinterpreted a rule. I don't. This happened early in the game. It was like after the Mizzou's first touchdown or something. There's an
Yeah,
unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which should have resulted in it being a kickoff from some yard line, and
right.
the
Mizzou's
official.
down their kicker. For those who don't know, Mizzou's kicker tore his ACL, MCL, so they don't have a kicker. So they're looking for any way they can to punt instead of kick.
Yeah, so the officials let them punt, which was a misinterpretation of the rule. Big 12 came out, I think it was yesterday, said they're suspending that crew for week 3. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the call doesn't really matter because I think Kansas ended up scoring on that drive anyway.
Yeah, big
Um,
team. There's not that much difference there with those penalty yards, but I get
but
it.
but yeah, just kind of a rough day. I know the Leopold was going crazy about the safety call, as well as one of
Mm-hmm.
those plays that you can't review. If you watch the video replay, it was obvious the guy
Yep.
swatted the ball
Yep.
back in the end zone. But that's just one of those things to me. Like it's either review everything or don't review anything. Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't like how we pick and choose what is reviewable
What
and
was
what's not.
weird is it had just happened last week in the NFL as well. Lad McConkey did it against the Chiefs, I believe. There was a ball out and he knocked it out of bounds. And obviously, you can't do that, but he was down to just lose the yards instead of the ball. Obviously, he was going to recover it from a teammate's fumble and did the same thing, swatted it out, and then took the loss of yards.
One to a quick shot to our Hawaii Rainbow Warriors defeated Sam Houston 37-20.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one thing that I love about doing dynasty in college football. Like we're invested in teams. Me and you were texting about NC State because you're
Wolfpack.
you're you're in your what fourth or fifth year at the NC State head coach, and
Third, fourth, yeah, something like that.
they were in a
Mm-hmm.
dogfight against who they play, Virginia, something like that.
Yes, yes, Cavaliers put up a
Uh,
very good fight.
so that was a fun game to watch. And then you kind of caught a Hawaii game week 1, and I've been doing a dynasty run with them. So it's kind of
Yeah.
just more invested in some college teams that we normally would be
Mm-hmm.
there. And then here this week, I haven't looked at the schedule at all. Let me load it up.
See what they've got. I imagine it's probably a conference game at this point.
NC State plays Wake Forest tomorrow, actually. Uh,
Okay, Demon Deeks.
and then it's going through trying to find some big matchups. Nothing. Georgia Tennessee is the big one. Game day will be there. That's in
Oh
Neyland
yeah.
Stadium in Knoxville at 2:30 on ABC. So that'll be the one to watch. Missouri plays Louisiana on at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Uh, this will be a fun one. Miami plays USF, newly ranked USF, number 18 in the poll. It's at 3:30 on the CW network. I suppose mine
Oh,
CW has college football.
everyone loves a darling, right? Loves an underdog that wins a game they shouldn't. I can't think of many that do it back to back weeks to start a season. Like
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
really like they could not have an impressive season still by the end of this year, and it's a fun year, but just because how
well,
they started it.
as of right now, I mean, Florida, we'll see, but there isn't a bad college football team in Florida. Miami's ranked, USF's ranked, Florida State's ranked. Florida, I think, is
That
still
Florida
ranked.
schedule is brutal.
Yeah, they play
That
a lot.
team,
That's got to be the toughest college football schedule in the
I'm
country. And
not
the
even
last,
saying they're that bad of a team. I'm kind of with you there that they're probably a mediocre team. That schedule,
it's
they'll
rough.
be. I mean, they would pay for 500 at this point. I would think
Yeah, losing that one to USF is definitely got them. Let me see if I can find their game real quick.
because, man,
But yeah, I know it's
the
a gauntlet. It's got to be one of the hardest schedules we've seen not just
Yeah.
this year in college football, but I think ever in college
No, all
football.
that's an all timer.
So they
That's an
played.
all
So
timer.
they
I don't know
played. They
how.
played number 3 LSU, ABC. So Kirk and
Yeah.
Fowler will be on that game. But yeah, they got. So they started the season off with Long Island University. Then played USF last week, LSU this week, Miami next week, Texas the week after that, Texas A&M the week after that. All ranked. Not only ranked, 3 of those teams are top 10.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, which doesn't seem like they're terrible. Then they got number 6 Georgia, Kentucky, which isn't a bad team by any means. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. So every team they played are playing or is ranked or could be ranked by the time they play them.
Yeah.
Outside of Long
Mississippi
Island.
State, we need to give a shout to. They won on a buzzer beater against Arizona State, who was ranked.
Yep. So Kentucky could easily be, if they lost, if they would have beat Ole Miss, they would probably be ranked now. So I mean that's brutal for them. And then, and
Yeah.
then they capped the season off against Florida State, which after last year, they were kind of the joke of the sport. Um,
You don't want to see them now.
no, you don't. You know, Tommy Castellaно's got some hair on his chest. He called out
That's
Alabama
right.
and he stood up and answered the bell there. Then we got Notre Dame, Texas A&M on NBC in front of Touchdown Jesus.
That's right.
And then Hawaii plays Portland State. So quite a few ranked games and not ranked games, but just some tough, be some good football this weekend in the
Yeah.
college level. So we'll see what happens. USF, I've always been kind of low key a Bulls fan. They had that run a couple years ago, and then
I
uh,
believe Fulton High School graduate Jared Perry on the staff at USF went and was an assistant at Tennessee after he left Mizzou, and I believe he's on the USF staff currently as a QB assistant of some sort. But I believe he's on USF's staff.
and then we'll see. Keep an eye on the Missouri State Bears hosting SMU. I believe in their first home game since they joined uh, FBS football. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
they're at USC and they're at
Tough
Marshall.
draw. Tough draw.
Yeah, so we'll see what they can handle Kevin Jennings or not on Saturday. But
Mm.
the newest member of the Conference USA there in the Missouri State Bears. Then
Yeah.
FAU and FIU play each other on ESPN Plus on Saturday as well. So
A
keep
little
an eye on
Florida
that.
battle.
Keep an eye on that. Anything
Mm.
else
Great
college
throw.
football wise you got?
That's all I got. Trying to think if anybody else stood out. I said that Mississippi State had that great win at the end. Um, your boy Cam Scavo, Arizona State. Speaking of them, had a good week for the Giants. So nothing else for NCAA for me.
Yep, we will. We're both probably more college football guys than NFL guys. Currently, given what happened with our NFL teams this past week, so let's rip that Band-Aid off. We'll start with my team since they played first. The Chiefs play the Chargers Friday night down in Brazil. Game started with Travis Kelce taking out our best receiver, separating his shoulder, and Rasheed Rice is on a 6-game suspension. So it's gonna be a long 6 weeks in Chiefs Kingdom here, and then the Eagles get a give me with their uh, dumb defensive lineman serving his 1-game
Yeah,
suspension after being ejected after the game started, but
yeah.
whatever. Um,
If only there was a receiver in the league somewhere on a floundering team that knew the Chiefs system.
I did
That
see a lot of Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs trade rumors the
that's
last couple
right.
days. So we'll see. The way that breakup happened, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I want him back at this point, to be honest. But I mean, he is needed. Like people think of the Chiefs as this high octane offense, like thinking like, that game Sunday night with the Bills and the Ravens. Everybody's like, that's the best game we've seen since the Rams Chiefs game. And it's like the Chiefs haven't had an offense like that in like 4 years. Like,
No, they showed a stat in the Chiefs game over the last whatever it is 3 years or so since Tyreek's left. Pat has the lowest air yards per throw in the league with Daniel Jones.
yeah,
I
I mean
mean,
they really when they traded Tyreek, they really invested in a running game and a defense. Like they've been let's get a lead, we'll pound the rock, defense will hold them off. Like they
yeah,
don't
we've
like
got
they
a top
like,
five offensive
and
line,
then it's like
and
let's just keep it close, and then Pat will do Pat stuff with 2 minutes left, and we'll get out of here.
yeah,
And but they really
yeah,
haven't blown teams out
no,
at all
you're
lately.
absolutely right. They haven't been high octane on offense in a while.
And then
Um,
go ahead.
but I was gonna say watching that game, The worry for me would be with the Chiefs. I didn't think they played that bad. Oh, watching it, I didn't leave that game thinking like, dang man, they looked awful tonight. I just thought the Chargers looked brilliant. I mean, Herbert looked great. Their play calling looked great. Their receiver core looked much better. They just looked good. And dude, there were multiple clips of Alt handling Chris Jones and homeboy just got paid on the other side. I can't think of his name right now. But that's without their best offensive lineman. Like Joe Alt had to switch over because they lost their best offensive lineman. So I would be a little worried there. Not that you're going to pick them to win the division already, but it just didn't look like the Chiefs should have won that game. I didn't leave that thinking like, oh, if they had made these two plays, like they win that game. Like, yeah, you lost your receiver and that stinks, but that's the league. The Dolphins lost two of their starting 5 offensive linemen week 1. So I can't feel that bad for them there. Travis Kelce probably gave you more than you even anticipated, and still,
Well, that touchdown he scored was a crazy play concept.
Yeah,
Doing the I forget was it wide receiver screen. He went out to act like he's blocking, and then Pat
yeah,
dropped it in the bucket over top of the DB's
yep,
head or whatever. That was a crazy play. And
great play.
To me, it's more the Chargers look good. Yes, it's just week 1 stuff. Like obviously the big thing was Chris Jones giving up outside contain on
Yeah,
Herbert on the play that won the game for him. Basically, I think the game was already because they got a first down like that first play of that drive anyway. It's like
yeah.
if at that point like the game's
And he's
kind of
talented
already.
enough to play edge, especially when you're trying to get a pass rush and stuff like that. When Karlaftis, is on the other edge and you're trying to make things happen and you're not worried about stuff happening up the middle. But I mean, I'm sure that's what Drew Tranquil was getting into with him. It's like you have to do your job there. As talented as you are, a Hall of Fame defensive tackle, and your whole life has been disruption. In that moment, you do have to do your job and keep contained. And I'm sure that's what he's
Yeah,
telling.
and I mean it's hard. I get it. Like his whole thing is rush the passer, and that's been his
Yep,
career. But you got to be situationally aware in times
yep.
like that. He beat the guy inside, but he can't give it outside contain on
And yeah, if
game on.
that's the 10 quarterbacks in the league that aren't going to evade that, again, you're totally fine. He makes a great sack and he's a great player, and the game flips on its head, right? But Herbert's athletic, dude. I mean, you got to know who you're up against.
Yeah, and then I'm invested fantasy wise in the Chargers with Vlad McConkey and some other players, so it's not an embarrassing loss by any means
No,
compared to
no.
what happened to your Dolphins
Oh
on
goodness, dude.
Sunday.
That let me be brutally honest with you guys. I've seen some bad Dolphins games in my lifetime. Just expectation wise, of like what product is going to be on the field and how this game's going to play out. That is one the most probably wrong I've ever been with how that game would play out, and two most disappointed. I mean, I was by halftime ready to blow the team up. I mean, you could just see it. They just have so much dysfunction. And Tua, that was probably a bottom 3 game I've seen him play, which there's no excuse at this point because he's not banged up. The receivers are all healthy. The offensive line was healthy for a bit. We lost our big name offensive guard 1 series in to a hurt pec. Shocker. Cursed franchise. But yeah, they looked atrocious. I mean, they looked for sure top 5 pick in the league bad. And you've got the Patriots this week on Sunday. You've got the Bills on a short week the Thursday after. And then you've got the Jets the next week. So you've got 3 division games. If you start 0-4 before you get to the Panthers in week 5, I would say Greer, the general manager, and Mike McDaniel are fired. I think it happens that quickly.
So this tweet was sent by you at 2:16 p.m. on Sunday. You said 1, trade Tyreek, 2, trade Chubb, 3, trade Phillips, 4, trade Minka, who you just got back. And then you said blow it up on coaching staff, and the offseason cut Tua and cut Austin Jackson, and then
And
hit
the
the
only
reset button.
alteration I would make to that is if they are that bad, where they have top 5, 7 pick go, next year is the last year of Tua's guaranteed money. Pending whatever coach would come in that situation when everybody's fired, I could see you holding on to that unless the new guy likes Ewers or somebody to just run out that guaranteed money. And if you've got a Sellers or somebody like that, now I don't have to throw him to the fire because I've got this guy here.
Well, I think this is the closest we've ever been to the Herbert or Tua discussion being officially
Yes.
closed after
Yep.
how Herbert looked on Friday compared to Tua
Yep.
basically immediately throwing a pick. I think that was at the first drive of that's like the first couple plays of the game,
After
wasn't it?
after the Colts scored, yeah, it was on their way down. And do I wish in a perfect world Harbaugh was the Dolphins coach? Absolutely, and that he had the Chargers offensive line, yes. But I can't make excuse after excuse for you. He wasn't good enough. Like I said, that was one of the worst games I've seen him play. At his peak, did it feel like that gap was pretty small though? When he's throwing for tons of yards and touchdowns in 2023, and he's a Pro Bowler, yes, it felt like that gap was pretty small. And I don't know if the consistent concussions have accelerated that degeneration as far as his skill set, is doing these things, but he did not look good, man. I mean, that was brutal. That was a brutal watch.
Yeah, and like I told you the other day, first week of season, half the league's undefeated, and half the league's winless.
Yep.
But that
Yep.
being said, you definitely hitting the panic button more than I am. Uh,
Just by how you lost, right?
and
It matters.
and,
A
so-
loss is a loss. Like you said, 0-1's 0-1, but to lose, not, and this isn't even a shot at the Colts. The Colts are probably gonna be 5-7,
no,
maybe 8 wins.
it's who you lost to. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Daniel Jones and the Colts, who
yeah.
was
And you got
laughing
embarrassed
stock.
by them. You didn't just lose. You didn't lose on, hey, they had a nice drive at the end and got kicked a field goal.
Yeah,
You were
no,
down.
you got smoked.
Yeah.
Against Daniel Jones, who was laughed out of New York,
New York.
and then there's
Mm-hmm.
stuff being thrown around that they did things that haven't been done in Indianapolis Colts history since 2006. Peyton Manning led
Yeah.
Super Bowl winning Colts team. So
Yeah.
like, if you were giving that stuff up to the Danny Dimes, then
And just
either
bizarre coaching decisions. I mean, Tyreek is matched up on Xavier Howard some of those times. Xavier Howard, God love him, Dolphins legend, hasn't played football in a year. He sat out all of last year rehabbing and then not picking a team to play with. He hasn't played football in over 365 days. You've got Tyreek and Waddle. You don't test him deep once. We don't just throw one to say, hey, you still got it? Is it still in the tank?
yeah, I think both these things can be true. One, Daniel Jones is the all-time change of scenery guy. Is one.
Yeah.
Two, you guys are just really bad. Like
Yeah.
that's just there's no if and buts
I think it's
around.
a combination of both. And those guys that I said trade, right? It's not like I think those are bad players or aren't deserving of the contracts they have, but the timeline's not going to fit anymore with the young QB and with the new coach and all these things with those guys at the point in they're in their contracts and their age. Not that Phillips is old, but he's at a year where you're going to have to give him $100 million extension probably. Chubb is older player. So like I said, those guys, it's not a shot at them. It's just this timeline's not going to match up anymore once you have to blow this up with coach and general manager.
All right, so now we ripped that Band-Aid off. Let's get to some other results. Excuse me, from Week 1. Shootout Thursday night, Dallas, Philadelphia. Philly wins 24-20 after a hour-long storm delay, something like that. I kind of quit watching after that point, but I know it was like the first 7 drives were touchdown, field goal, touchdown, something like that, and then every drive after the rain delay was punt.
If only there was a way to stop weather from ruining games. If only we had
Well,
found a way as human civilization to build a way to stop weather affecting games.
I think I agree with you. Yes, like I think at least have a retractable roof.
Yeah.
But I do think there is some the elements of the game is what makes football special in some ways. Like you remember the Tuck Rule game with Brady in the
There's
snow.
snow games,
and,
that are
and,
always crazy and fun.
So I don't think the weather really affected the game. The way they have turf and stuff now, like the delay sucks, obviously. Putting things back an hour, and then you got to warm back up and all this stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the field conditions really had anything to do with that. I think it's more just week
No,
one,
yeah,
guys having to stop playing and things like that. But I do think at least having a retractable roof option is good. But at the same time, like I would hate to lose the personality of different stadiums and things like that.
I'm not a big Dak guy, Listen, he played well. I mean, he should have won it if CD catches some of those, and not even just those plays. I mean, Dak played well. I found it interesting. I saw this week the Cowboys did not play man defense at one point in that game, which that's startling to me. Not that obviously it's going to be tough to man up on AJ Brown, who didn't really do anything, and then Devontae Smith. But those aren't those aren't guys you can't even attempt it on. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of shocking to me as far as expectation for the Cowboys defense. And then the Eagles, I would bet they trade for a corner at some point this year because as good as Quinyon Mitchell has been, they really like Cooper DeJean in the nickel.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like they have a guy on the outside on the other side that they trust. So I would bet the Eagles are gonna be on the phones looking for a corner.
Well, I think losing C.J. Garner-Johnson hurts them there because he was their guy.
Darius
and,
Slay,
and that's their
was
Slay too.
out
Big
with the
big play
Steelers.
Slay, yeah. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at the box. You held Hurts to 152. A.J. Brown
That
had
doesn't
one
surprise
catch
me.
for 8 yards. Devontae Smith had 3 catches for 16 yards. Dotson, is really the one that really kind of hurt you with 3 catches for
Mm-hmm.
59. Saquon, and Hurts both had 60 yards and two. And the running game is really what got you there.
I just
Um,
every game I watch against the Eagles, not that I'm a defensive coordinator, but I watch them. I'm like, it'll be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, whatever it is, and they'll come out empty, just like they did late there in that game. I think it was like 3rd and 6 or something. I'm like, you think for a second this isn't a QB draw? You think for a second, like when do you see them throw out of empty ever? Every empty I've ever seen is he takes that, looks for 1 second, and takes off because you've got some linebacker mismatched out there on him, even if you're spying him. And he's not Lamar, obviously, but he can get you 6, 7 yards, almost guaranteed out of empty if you're not in a position to handle him. And
yeah,
so late in that game, they come out in that, and it's like a throw would stop the clock if it's incomplete. Oh, they're not throwing this, and
yeah,
he's not Prime Peyton or Tom or somebody that you even trust to do that.
right.
You know what's coming here. I can't be sitting on the couch knowing what's coming here, and you don't.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we talk about this. You know, coach is not playing Madden. Like you should
Yeah,
kind of know what to expect in some of these situations. But
situationally, know who you're playing against.
and then let's move on to Sundays. The Sunday slate. Tampa beats Atlanta, beats Atlanta in a game that always feels like comes down to a field goal. Game on the
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
one way or
yeah,
another. That's just the NFC South for you.
yeah.
We were both kind of right here. The Bengals struggled with the Browns, who we both think are going to
Oh,
be kind of bad teams, 17-16.
I would have looked like a mad genius if the Browns pulled that off for me.
And then I didn't really watch much of this game, but Vegas beat New England. Brock Bowers got hurt in that game. I didn't watch a snap of this Arizona New Orleans game, but the Cardinals win that one. Actually, a sneaky fun game was Pittsburgh New York Jets. I actually watched. That was they were on red zone more than to be expected
Fields
going
and
in
Rogers, right? Have a
going
little
in that week.
shootout.
And honestly, I thought the Jets should have won that. They went for two, didn't get it. Then Washington smokes the Giants. Another kind of weird game was Carolina Jacksonville had another rain delay. They were
I
kind of
heard Bryce Young was atrocious in that
yeah,
game
he
from
looked
what
he
I've
looked
been.
he looked bad. And then Denver beat Tennessee 20-12. They struggled with the Titans. Cam Ward looked good from some of the highlights I saw and stuff.
Yes, and I
Uh,
told you guys about Denver. They didn't beat anybody good last year, so don't get too hyped on that train.
Niners beat the Seahawks 17-13. The late window I didn't really watch any of. Everything that in the morning window games I was kind of
Uh,
pretty locked into,
Brock
but
Purdy out multiple weeks. Hello, Mac Jones leading the 49ers moving forward.
against the Saints here in week 2, and CMC seems
Oh,
to be having a calf
Spencer
injury
Rattler
again.
versus Mac Jones.
Yeah, that's ugly. That's an
Oh,
ugly game.
this is what we waited 8 months for. We prayed for this.
Yeah, and then not only that, down Kittle, down CMC probably, and I can't name a Saint, so
You are a degenerate if you turn into that. If you're tuning into that game
if
with
not only
Iowa.
if you bet if you not only if you watch it, if you put any money
I
at all on that
I don't know
game,
what you would even begin to bet on that.
the under. And
Yeah,
then Green Bay kind of this game seems closer than it was on paper, but they beat Detroit 27-13. Uh,
yeah.
Rams beat Houston
So
14-9, and
remember in our prediction, we kind of throttled back on Detroit. I mean, just losing both sides of the ball and all those things.
and then the game. What it has to be the game of the year. Like I'm hard pressed to think any matchup we're gonna
Oh,
get better than the Ravens Buffalo we got on Sunday Night Football. Which
I
that game for 3 quarters was decent, but then that fourth quarter was just crazy.
yeah, and I've come to realize as a Dolphins fan, it feels like that type of game with that type of quarterback play and excitement. No exaggeration here. I can't even envision that as a fan of one of those teams. I can't fathom watching my team play at that level. And those teams looked like the two best teams in the league to me. Even if the Ravens losing, they looked like a wagon. Like, good luck. I don't know what your plan is besides have Josh Allen and hopefully pull off a miracle.
Yeah, and I texted another friend of mine. I said it's the Ravens and everybody else. That's how dominant they looked through
Oh, dude.
three and a half quarters of that game. Like I think it was 9 minutes left in the fourth. They were up by it was like 40-25 or something.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's running around doing crazy stuff. Jay Flowers
Derrick
can't be
Henry's going to
stopped.
jump into the top 15, I believe, all-time rushing after this year.
Yeah, has to. And then before that game, actually, yeah, after that game, actually, the unders hit 11-2 on Sunday. So every game went under except for that one and the Steelers Giants game. Every other game the under hit, which we kind of talk about. NFL offenses take a couple weeks to get rolling.
Yeah.
So smart money. If you want to make money, smart money's on betting the unders these first couple weeks.
Shout out to Derrick Henry, by the way, just watching that. I don't know if people realize this yet just because he hasn't been on. I mean, the Ravens have obviously been good, but he kind of got tossed out by the Titans, and they didn't have any runs with him. But you're watching a Hall of Famer. I don't know if people realize that just because he's not the same name as Adrian Peterson and some of those guys were. You're watching a Hall of Famer. That's a Hall of Fame running back you're watching.
He is, I'm not think I'm saying anything crazy, the best running back we've seen in our lifetime, right? Like,
in their peak, it's him and Adrian Peterson. Yes, I would say. Adrian Peterson, I thought did a little more as far as receiving. And the numbers might not agree with me there, but it just looked like I feel like he caught more passes, screen wise and things like that. But as far as like peak, who do you want to see least? Who do I, as a defensive coordinator, who do I not want to see at all? He's at the front of that list with Adrian Peterson for me.
Yeah, I mean, and just longevity too. Like we've been saying for years that. Yeah. Well, let me back it up. LT deserves a shout here.
Yeah.
But he's just a different kind of player than
all around back. Yes. But yeah, no, the way he was used in college, the way he was used in high school, he is LeBron-esque as far as his body should not be doing these things at whatever he is, 31.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's basically an NFL version of LeBron that we're watching here at this point. But
Giannis, it's something like that, where it's just a freak.
Yeah, it's just, and then I'm pulling up some names here. I put Henry over Edgerrin James, right?
Yep.
I put him over Jamal Lewis, Quentin Portis, Fred Taylor. Now we're getting some names.
And again, a lot of those guys are going to have better receiving numbers, sure, and that's harder to defend because you got to have linebackers that can handle them and do that stuff. But you're going to be hard pressed again to tell me it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Everyone in the stadium knows that cat's getting the ball, and any of those other names you'd rather have the ball than Derrick Henry? I would say yeah.
And not only that, just most dominant too, right? Like, just good luck tackling him. I mean,
miserable experience it must
be. Frank Gore's kind of a compiler, as you would say. Like, he was good. He's not terrible.
Yeah. Great vision.
But in terms of dominance and what this is, AP is the only comp, really.
Yeah.
Steven Jackson for maybe a season.
The only comp of I can run through you or I can run around you. You're not catching me if I get to the outside, and also you want no part tackling me. Yeah. And those are two names at the forefront of that.
And then Marshawn Lynch for about 3 seasons, probably. But again, we're talking about windows like here. It's like seasons, groupings of 2 or 3 seasons. Like we're talking,
he's 31.
Yeah, we're talking.
He's 31.
Over a decade
of this. This is a 25-year-old cat. Even Saquon, right? Saquon's not on a projection like this.
Yeah, he came in the league in 2016, so we're 10 years at this point almost of him just running people over, basically 1,000 yards every year except for that 1 year he got hurt. He's just as consistent of a running back as you're going to get. And not only that,
the problem is it's not ever, like I said, catching a pass, making somebody miss, flashy, hurdle over somebody. He doesn't have those plays.
But he did that though. He had that first touchdown they had was a screen pass to him, and he outran everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's not consistently that, so I don't think that's why he's looked at it that way. To me, he's like the running back version of Mike Evans. When does Mike Evans ever go in the top 4 rounds of a fantasy draft? Never. At the end of every season, he's going to have
Yeah.
1,000 plus and 10 TDs or
Yep.
whatever it is, 18. And it's just like Mike Evans, same thing. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I don't think we realize it because he's never the best wide receiver in the league.
Right.
But that consistency is insane.
Well, Henry's kind of a tier above this, but we talk about just boring like fantasy guys. Mike Evans,
Yep.
James Conner, guys like that are just they're not flashy names, but they're just gonna get you. Their floor is higher than most people
80
see
yards and
it.
touchdown. 80 yards and touchdown every week.
And then I watched the first half of this game, Monday Night Football, Bears Vikings. Kind of a tale of two halves, I guess. Caleb Williams looked good for 3 quarters and was bad in the fourth, and then your guy JJ looked bad for 3 quarters, then turned it on in the fourth. And I
Yeah.
think I saw today he got the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So
Did he?
um,
He just, I mean, I was just impressed with you throw a pick six in your first real start and not wheels fall off, but just to still look competent and aggressive and make the throws you need to make to come back and win a game like that on the road against a team that's kind of the media darling right now as far as hype. That's impressive. Caleb Williams, I've never been a real big fan of. He's swaggerless to me with the t-shirt under the jersey. What are we doing? I don't even know what that is. But I'm startling information today. He had like a 26% off-target throw percentage in this game. And like for his career, it's like 24, 22, something like that. Just for perspective, Justin Fields, who's known to be inaccurate, is at like 14%. So it hasn't been what he's projected to be at this point. So I'm not sure why we're still so hyped on him. Yes, he hasn't had good pieces around him. He's got great pieces now. He's got Rome Odunze. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Cole Kmet. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's got a competent offensive line. He's got a play caller. I know we're 1 week in, but I would have thought it looked better week one than it did.
clock's ticking now on him. I mean, it's a prove it year. Honestly, it is.
Luther Burden as your wide receiver 3.
Well, he had just an abysmal game. He got 1 catch for -3 yards. So
Yeah.
so like I said, week one against Vikings defense is a top 5 defense in the league. So it's not like they played a bum team by any means. And your guy Flores dialed it up. So we'll see what happens. But not. That being said, 3 quarters look good for them. But it's just.
Unfortunately, the game's 4-0.
That's correct. If you're a not just the first overall pick, but a top 5, top 10 talent at quarterback, your time to shine is in the fourth quarter. Doesn't matter how good you look for 3. It's got what you do in the fourth. So we will. What are we on Wednesday? So we'll look forward to Thursday night football. We got Washington versus Green Bay. Tomorrow night.
Good one.
That'd be a good one.
Green Bay look really good, and Washington's obviously a fun team. That'd be a good one.
And then just kind of looking through some fun ones. Be the Bears and the Lions be good on Sunday. The Niners Saints
battle for not going 0-2 to start your season there, Oden. That's gonna be 2 pissed off 0-1 teams.
The Niners Saints can be one of those games like a car crash. You just can't look away from it. Buffalo
Dolphins Patriots. Add Dolphins Patriots to that car crash.
Yeah. Jets Bills is a little bit more intriguing now than it was a week prior with how New York looked and Justin Fields looked last week against Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And then Kansas City, Philadelphia, Sunday afternoon. I think we're gonna get smoked in that game personally, but
I don't know. Philly didn't look as good as I thought, but again, I just don't know what you're going to do at receiver to beat them because I don't envision you just running it all over them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, granted, we were both kind of loud wrong on the Cowboys Eagles games. I thought that was going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
With how everything's gone in the off season and all that stuff with that team, I didn't think they look any sort of competent at all. But
that's right.
We'll see. Definitely the Eagles defense is got the plus against the Chiefs offense at this point.
I would say if they can get pressure with just 4.
But that being said, the Cowboys
Taylor looked awful against the Chargers. That dude had like 5 penalties.
That being said, the Cowboys defense kind of lock up, Smith and Brown, and there's some hope. But that's not what killed them. It was on the ground with Saquon and Hurts. So we'll see what happens there. And then Sunday football, JJ back in prime time. Vikings Falcons Sunday night, and then we got Monday night doubleheader with Bucks Texans and Chargers Raiders, which is actually kind of a
Dude,
sneaky fun game.
JJ wins back-to-back primetime games. I'm not obviously the Falcons aren't a wagon, but still, a primetime game always a primetime game. You know that. I know that. Especially after winning one on the road in at Soldier Field. You say at Atlanta or at home?
That game is at home.
Okay, at home. But regardless, he starts it off with two primetime wins. That's impressive. It's an impressive start.
And the fact they're even in that window, in that slot, is kind of crazy too, right? So.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah.
So our week one way too early Super Bowl takes are who you got? I guess Bills Eagles at this point. It's because
Bills,
they look the best
I
of.
will go Ravens, Eagles.
It's those three teams basically.
Yeah.
It's I think every time.
Pending injury, pending health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
health, yes. I think every time the Bills Ravens is one of those games like it's a coin flip every time they play.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at, all that kind of stuff. NFC wise, I think the Eagles look far and away better than. Is it crazy to say the Bucks are the second best NFC? Actually, no, the Packers. It's the Packers.
The Packers are up there for sure. They're going to have top five defense, and Jordan Love is kind of a problem. I will say there's been rumors about Tyreek to Pittsburgh as well because they feel like they are close with Rodgers and how they looked.
Yeah, Pittsburgh looked better than anticipated. Granted against the Jets, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But I think definitely top three. As of after week one, it's to me in the AFC it's the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chargers, and then the NFC it's the Eagles, Packers, and Bucks. Honestly,
Somewhere around there, yeah.
then we'll see what happens here. Injuries also always play a part, things like that. So anything else you got in the NFL?
Nope. Quick dive into the patch notes here.
Yep. So you've been on the hashtag time in Warzone Ranked guide on the climb to Crimson, I hear.
Yeah, we've never been Crimson Boys. That's a little above our pay grade, but for some reason this season things have just kind of worked out as far as ranked. We kind of hopped back into it and made a pretty quick climb. We are currently Diamond 2, more than halfway to Diamond 3, but ran into a buzzsaw last night of top 250 Crimson and Iridescent players that had me sweating and hiding in the lobby from those said players. So just for an idea, SR-wise, we currently are negative 85 to start a match.
Oof.
If you get top 4, you get 100 SR. Then obviously pinning whatever kills and eliminations we have. So a great game where we in the top 4 and have 4 to 6 kills per teammate. We're looking at maybe 50-ish SR. So it's been a slow but steady kind of grind, but it feels like the window's open still for a possible first ever in our lives Crimson finale.
Well, you'll wrap that up. Then a month later, the game will be
That's right.
DOA and BO7 will be here, and whatever
right.
new version of
Borderlands.
Warzone will be the new
That's
thing
right.
we're playing. So
Borderlands this weekend. That's what I'm getting.
yeah, I know some big streamers are doing a sponsor thing with Borderlands tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Tim, I want that.
I've been getting the itch to go back and play Marvel Rivals. I re-downloaded it, haven't felt the need to scratch enough to actually hop in and play it yet. But I've been watching Tim do reactions and stuff too. I'm like, I kind of want to play it. But
Yeah.
honestly, I've been having so much fun playing college football.
Oh yeah, I love this league that we've got going right now. Just the pace of it, as far as how we're moving it and stuff, and recruiting against each other, it's been good.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. Then I'm doing a Missouri State kind of zero to hero dynasty, and then I'm doing 'cause the coaching side zero to hero. I'm the OC coordinator at OC at Hawaii, and gonna see kind of make my way from the bottom to the head coaching ranks. And that guy, Timmy Chang, that picture I sent you, that Hawaii quarterback.
Tommy, yeah.
That Tommy Chang, that dude was a quarterback of Hawaii like in the 90s. He's actually the head coach of the team now.
Yeah, it's cool. He wears a lei during the game.
Yeah. So that was not the QB. That was and the guy that starts in my team actually isn't the starter. They had two freshmen, and
Oh, okay.
just the way the game works, they gave the guy who I'm using gave him the impact dev trait, so he's a starter over
Gotcha.
Malia, something like that.
Yeah.
Is his actual starting quarterback for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors currently. So We are gonna try and get back on our normal
Yep.
Sunday reaction, going live and everything. Now try and get my life normalized a little bit. Got your internet stuff settled down, hopefully.
Yep.
So we'll be back Sunday at 9:30. As always, thanks for listening. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe.